In this part of the video, I'm going to show the test or study for the partition tolerance of MongoDB. So at first, I need to set up a replica set and just following the steps in lab 4 to set up the MongoDB replica set with 3 running instances, the Mongo node 1, 2, 3 here. I just open 2 ports for each of the instance, the 22 port to allow the SSH and the 27017 port to allow the MongoDB access. To start our test, let's connect to the replica set first. So since now all 3 instances are healthy, so if we check the status of the replica set, we could find the members, ID 0, healthy is 1, and state is primary, that is our primary node, and the ID 1, healthy is 1, and the state is secondary, and ID 2, healthy is 1, state is secondary. And let's try to insert a document into the replica set, and we will receive a acknowledgement from the replica set and that the write operation is success. And we could read from the replica set later. That is the document we write just several seconds before. And now let's directly log into a secondary node and try to write through a secondary node. You will receive a write command error, not master. So it's impossible to write through the secondaries. However, it's possible to read through secondaries. We will show that later, but you will also have the trade-off. You will have the risk of reading the stale data. Okay. Now, let's simulate a network partition to separate the primary node from the other 2. So now the primary node cannot communicate with the other 2 and it's in a minority of the nodes. And so the majority of the left 2 nodes which could communicate with each other will elect a new primary. Then the old primary will step down. And we're going to use this one. Sorry. We're going to use this simulate network partition script to do the partition simulate using the IP table drop, and to restore it using these IP table commands. Okay. And here is the script we're running in the Mongo shell. We're doing the for loops, so this will allow 6,000 writes through the primary node. Let's copy and paste to the Mongo shell. And since it will take a while to finish all these 6,000 write, it will buy us some time to trigger the network partition. So let's start this write and trigger the partition. And okay, so now we receive acknowledgement that all the 6,000 write is finished, and then the error message, the replica set just detect the primary is unreachable from the other 2. Okay. Okay, let's reconnect to the primary. And now it's become the secondary, and let's check the status. Itself is healthy, however status is just the secondary node stepped down, and the other two are unhealthy since it cannot communicate with the other two. And let's access to the replica set and check what is the current status. You will find the ID 0, the healthy 0 is unreachable, and the ID 1 now is become the primary, and ID 2 is still the secondary. So these two become a new replica set, and it will resume the functionality of the replica set to accept both the read and write. And now let's see how many documents are in the primary, the old primary. We allow the stale rate and check. We have 6,000 right there. However, in our primary set, so the other two nodes, we only have 3,000 something. So we're missing 3,000 writes after the network partition. And now, if we recover the partition, and since we enforced in our setting that the old primary would be always the primary node since they have higher priorities, so we connect to the replica set and check the status. And now the old primary back to the replica set and is healthy again, and becomes the primary again, and the other two are healthy and the secondary. And I'm interested in how many documents are in the replica set now after the recovery. We only have 3,000 something. So that means the network partition caused significantly data loss. All the data writes after the partition were lost. We could configure the replica set by setting the write concern to reduce this window of the data loss, and I will show that later. So the previous experiment is involve a replica set elections. So how about just we disconnect the node 3 from the network. So the primary is still in the majority of the nodes, and there is no election happens. Let's see. So to do the experiment, we first insert a document into the inventory collections into the replica set, and we want to this is a primary. Okay. And for the secondary, 2, just disconnect it from the replica set and see what is the current status. Maybe not reflect so soon. Okay, now the secondary 2 is unhealthy, is not reachable. And what happened if we update the the document we just write to the replica set. So now this the canvas element will have the different unit for the size. They will have inch instead of the centimeters. However, if we allow the write directly from the secondary, let's see. And the rate. And we will find that what we have now is the stale data, is the outdated data. The size unit is still centimeters. So that's why allowing the direct access to the secondaries have the risk of the reading stale data. And if we restore it, and now the node 2 or the ID 2 will back to the replica set, and all these three nodes will have updated rate. So that's the part for the MongoDB.